So at 17, serving God looked like a service that would pay the bills. You were all into your own head about being a preacher, even if it meant to go hungry. At 25, you start to wonder where God is. You start to ask questions you should have asked as a child. You've known hunger and you're no longer sure you're willing to sleep on an empty stomach for Jesus. But despite not being with Jesus, you've been hungry and there are days you've lacked. You start to pray that what you know at 25 was what you knew at 17, because after all, you won't be young again. Wow, wow. So, for those of us who are raised in Christian families, I want to believe that uh, you've had this urge to, grow up, serve God like your parents, or like some people that, that felt like the real role models for you. And right now, it doesn't make sense. You're not receiving any offerings, so you're not exactly eating from any plate. You're you're no longer even sure you wanna be a preacher anymore. You're like, yo, Jesus, I'm not sure I wanna go hungry for you. And in campus there are times we do things and we're like, oh God, I've backslid. And even in those times, you weren't with Jesus. You still lacked. And you start to pray that what you know now is what you knew while you were a little younger. And I keep going back to 17 because I'm trying to believe that it's in that age that we leave high school and we start to, label things in the world as they are, starting to understand that actually the economies are falling or rising, and you need to work your way in between all those rubbles and make a life for yourself. And it's not getting any easier, it's not getting any harder, because you don't even know what you want to do exactly. You don't even know where you should belong in the first place. So I'm not certain whether you're relating to me, but if you're relating to me, I'm glad I could tell you that there is someone else who's going through the same thing. Yeah, because this is therapy for me. This is the therapeutic Christian poetry I write. So when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. At 25, I took God more seriously than I did at my 17th birthday. I no longer did it to please my parents or crowds. I made the decisions. I made the decisions thinking that I still had time. I no longer believed that I was young. I no longer believed that I was young because time waits for no man. It flies, grows wings, and leaves your pocket at 22, tells you that it gave you enough time to grow, and now you're on grace period. At 26, you'll be a father, and your child won't be satisfied with breadcrumbs alone. So now at 25, you start to make prayers you should have made a little earlier, but it's never really too late because God opens doors at their own times. But being childish won't ever be your game again because you're all grown now and you stopped chasing the wind. Uh, yo, wait, there's something. I keep saying that there are things in this spoken word that I still feel that are still real. There's some insecurities that are so realistic right now in my life. And I'm kind of playing guacamole with them. Like I'm hitting it here, and the other one is popping up in another hole, trying to hit this hole. They keep popping up, and one thing I'm realizing about this statement that I'm saying right now is that you grow up and you realize there is no happily ever after. Like you were just born to fight and fight and fight and fight. Like, oh God, I'm exhausted. And you're like, oh God, when is my seventh day coming? Like, where do I get to rest? And then you listen to the word and you realize that God actually made us to work. But work for a millennial like you and I, for a Generation Z, hmm, is not the most glamorous things unless, as we keep telling ourselves, you're doing what you love. And what are the things you love? Podcasting. And your parents will ask you, where's the money you're making from this? And you'll be like, I'm still building capacity. I've not yet gotten the enough number of followers. Yeah. And all through life, I'm learning that you keep on building capacity. Like, even if you start making money, you start paying the bills, there's still capacity you need for other spaces. Whoa. So, birthdays are no longer 25 birthdays are no longer what you look forward to. You look forward to them if you have money, if the societal expectation you can meet, and meet, I mean by having enough money to throw a party. Do you have enough money to throw a party? How big is your party? And you keep on seeing people throw birthday parties, and I don't know whether it's me alone, but you start to feel like, yo, don't I have friends? Well, my friends, other people are getting surprise birthday parties. What about me? Yeah, so these are things you don't want to learn, but these are the realities of life. Oh, yeah, so time flies, it grows wings and leaves your pockets at 22. Yeah, so at 22, you're really unnerved because you don't even have a job. You're not making money. Not even. Okay, I wasn't making any money. And if I ever made money, I remember there was this time I tried to do business and someone conned me money. I invested in his business and he vanished. And then he sent the twin to manage the business. And the twin kept telling me that I should wait for the brother to come. Yo. I don't know how that makes me feel. I just feel like, what? Life has really worked on me. Life has really thrashed me. It has really taught me things not in the way I wished it would have. I thought, the way we say I left school and I can do whatever I want. Sorry, because no one can beat me now. No one can give me corporal punishment. And then now you realize that, yeah, you left school. No one can give you corporal punishment, but life can really thrash hard and so hard. Yeah. So at 26, you'll be a father. At that time, many of my friends were becoming baby daddies. And I was asking myself, what if that was my story? What could I do for that child? At 25, you start to make prayers you should have made a little earlier. It's never really too late. God opens doors at their own times. Yeah, God opens doors for people at their own time, but Yo, God, I think your timing is not as exquisite as I want it to be. I think, yeah, you're a little too late. I'm getting killed out here. So you're prayerful about the things you should have been prayerful for, but you feel like you should have prayed about those things a little earlier. So at this point, you won't be childish again, and you'll stop chasing the wind. And I'm assuming, like our parents are encouraging us to do, we shall start chasing the bag. And the bag, mind you, for some of us feels like that thing we don't want to go after, because I'm like, I want to serve people, I want to do things from my heart. I don't want to do it because of the money. I want to give back. But there is only so much when you can give when you don't understand what you have that you can give. I no longer say that you have nothing to give. You might not have money, but I think what I've learned by this point in my life is that there's a way you can make resources come out of people's pockets, and you just haven't figured it out how. So the how comes later, and I feel like it comes at God's appointed time, because if you have the money soon, you could waste it, and if you have it later, you'll be a better steward of it. Also, I'm trusting God that you will be. So